I'm sure most of you have been following this row between Andy Burnham and Boris Johnson, between Manchester and Westminster, the King of the North, Andy Burnham, and Boris Johnson. Don't have a nickname for him. It's an interesting thing because a lot of people have decided to become tribal. Some people are taking Boris Johnson's side, some people are taking Andy Burnham's side. We don't do that here. We try to be objective. So, to clarify, both sides are wrong and stupid. And we're going to tell you exactly, we're going to analyze the situation, what happened over the last week and what happened yesterday. If you don't know, basically, obviously, the national government, Westminster, they're not in favour of a national lockdown, second lockdown. So what they're doing is they're doing these weird local traffic light tier 1, 2, 3 versions of lockdown. So there's a bit of a row between Manchester and London. So it's interesting because to an extent, I'm going to say where both sides were right and also where they've been wrong. So firstly, what happened is yesterday was the last day of negotiations and it collapsed, and the government basically announced that we're going to basically put Manchester into tier 3, which is the high alert and like proper lockdown. And it happened on TV, on camera, when Andy Burnham was speaking. So this is his reaction when he first found out about how much money they're getting, because this was the whole row about how much money and support Manchester's going to get.
Coming to effect 1 minute past midnight on Friday, they're cutting it to 22. Right. Okay. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, yeah. Shall I? Right. So it's going to come into effect on Friday.
At 1 minute past midnight on Friday, this is what's been said to MPs. It's going to be £20 million only, and they are going to try and pick off individual councils.
I mean, it's brutal, to be honest, isn't it? This is no way to run the country in a national crisis. It isn't. This is not right. They should not be doing this, grinding people down, trying to accept the least that they can get away with. £22 million to fight the situation that we are in is frankly disgraceful.
Okay, Andy. So if you watched that live at the time, his performance was really good. He came across very compassionate, and shocked to hear about this £20 million. It's not true, and we're going to expose his lies. So essentially, the government doing these tier 3 stuff, they've done the same with Liverpool and other areas. They have this weird formula per capita and the size of the city and the resources they have, and it's an automatic formula where they come up with a number. And Liverpool received £44 million. They offered Manchester £60 million. Initially 55, but 60 basically. And Andy Burnham stood up for Manchester, saying that we deserve more because Manchester is special. He asked for 95 million. Initially, Andy Burnham's line was that I'm against these lockdowns. So a lot of people got excited, thinking, oh, Andy Burnham is sound. He's against lockdown. No. He said these local lockdowns are going to hurt the economy in Manchester, which he's right. His solution, a full national second lockdown, which will completely destroy the economy. If he thinks that he wants to get more money locally right now, based on tier 3, does he not realise that if there is a national lockdown, the government has to spend all that money and spread it around, send it to Cornwall, send it to Yorkshire? That means Manchester will definitely get less. So I'm not really sure what this guy's on about. The second point is, as you saw on camera, they found out that the government is only giving them £20 million. So he was shocked. Firstly, that's a lie. He knew about it, and it wasn't £20 million. Because the reaction we had is this. People like Liz and Andy saying, in 10 years in Parliament, I've never seen anything like this. MPs are on a call with the Health Secretary being told Greater Manchester is getting only £22 million, while our mayor is at a press conference being told by the media, this is bad faith, it's immoral, just disgraceful. These people are making me defend Boris Johnson right now. I'm not happy about this. The reality is, the government offered 55 million initially, that was the formula. And all the other areas, Liverpool and other places, Sheffield, who have mature mayors and councils, they agreed and they negotiated, and that was it. Andy Burnham has political ambitions. He wants to come across as the king of the north. So he said 95 million. The government then eventually, Andy Burnham came down to 75 million, and the government came up to 60 million. And then Andy Burnham wanted 65 million. And then Andy Burnham, yesterday morning, walked away from the talks. And the government said, you have a deadline. We're going to impose these, we're going to announce the lockdown, and it's going to happen on Friday. And they told him at 2 o'clock that this is how much you're going to get, and it's happening. And it's not £22 million. That £22 million was for test and trace. On top of that, they were always going to be given Manchester 60 million, which was more than 55 million. This is the reaction from Robert Jenrick.
How fair was it that he found out live on the telly?
He didn't.
They were holding a phone up, and he
didn't.
So when did he find out?
I phoned him and told him.
Did you when?
Well, we had several conversations over the course of the morning, including with the Prime Minister, and I told him the final news at 2 o'clock.
So you were showboating?
What I say, I'm not in the slightest bit interested in point scoring. This isn't about personalities or press conferences on the steps of town halls. In the end, it's about an important public health situation, and it's about ensuring that the people of Greater Manchester now get the support that they deserve.
Right, so that was actually proven with evidence that they had a conversation at 2 p.m. before that press conference, and he was told that you're getting, lockdowns happening, you're getting £22 million for test and trace, and you're still getting £60 million for everything else. But then he went around and did that performance, dramatic performance. Oh, we're only getting £22 million. And even though, obviously, as we said, Liverpool was getting 44 million, again, it's per capita, it's a weird system that they have. I am going to start criticising the government very soon. But before we finish with Andy Burnham, the king of the north, because, as we said, essentially the talks collapsed because of this £5 million difference, because this guy just wanted to play politics. So the reality is, as I said, is that non-competent sources insisted that they thought they had agreed a deal worth £55 million, then offered 60 million, and then Andy Burnham asked for 65 million, and then he just walked away, and then he claimed that the government walked away. Now, this is the Andy Burnham side. He just wanted to obviously use this as a political opportunity. He was playing games. The government were playing games from their side by walking away as well. So the government essentially have been lying about the numbers of Manchester. So they said that Manchester's situation is so extreme, especially with the ICU capacity, that it has to go into tier 3. But did it? Is it as bad as they expected? The figures don't really support this reality, because according to Downing Street themselves, Manchester University Foundation's NHS Trust is already at 70% occupancy, while 91% of beds at Salford Royal NHS Foundation Trust are taken up. Surely, again, this would be quite a lot. It's a big percentage, right? But comparing to even last year and previous years, for example, October 2019, 87% of Manchester's ICU beds were full, and 96% at Salford. This is according to the NHS data themselves. And the UK had a very mild flu season last year, and this situation that we have this year, you had this new problem, and you're still obviously dealing with flu as usual every season, every year at this point, and the numbers are still lower than last year and the previous years. So the government used this data to say that 70% occupancy, 91% Salford, let's do tier 3. So the government lied about that, or just messed up because they're incompetent, let's just say. And this is people's livelihood, because you have two sides playing political games, and people in the middle are being damaged. You do these lockdowns, and all the cancer patients, all the other people who need to go to hospital, all the people who are losing their jobs and businesses, they are the ones that have to pay, not Andy Burnham, not Boris Johnson. I mean, speaking of Andy Burnham, again, we've discovered that, you saw that clip, he's wearing casual clothing. He was wearing a suit before, and he then changed into a jumper to I'm a man of the people, I'm so casual. And then he also said, this is the best bit, that he's such a humble northerner on a middle income of £110,000.
I would imagine that most people can, myself included, in more middle income jobs can live on 2/3 of our wages. But how many people understand what it would be like to live on 2/3 of your wages if you are currently on the minimum wage?
Yeah, brilliant. Middle income, £110,000 a year. He's on middle income. And so they're going back to this issue because we even had Dr. Jane Elson talking about, obviously, she's medical lead for Greater Manchester, saying that the system can cope, she said. If one looks at the stark figures, one might be mistaken for thinking, oh gosh, but that does not take into account the additional capacity that will come into play. We also have all this new capacity that we created since March and April. So the government are lying about that, or just incompetent. Andy Burnham came out against these local lockdowns, so everyone got excited, saying, oh, he's standing up against Boris Johnson, he's against lockdowns. But his solution, like Keir Starmer, is a national full second lockdown. That's going to cost even more, and it's not going to help anything. And he's been lying about when he found out about the news. The government have been terrible with the data and numbers that they sent Manchester into tier 3. Second problem with the government, even though obviously at least the government, Boris Johnson, is against the actual second national lockdown, which is good. But the problem is that they don't actually understand the reality of this. They're just playing games. And the communication team, Downing Street, if you're watching this, you guys need to sort out your stuff, because this could have been solved yesterday before this guy had that performance, this dramatic performance on live TV. The government should have gone out there publicly making a statement saying that, oh yeah, we are announcing the lockdowns from Friday. We are giving Manchester £22 million for test and trace, but we're also giving them 60 million as agreed, as we already offered. They didn't do that. So obviously he spent the whole night winning the debate, the whole PR game, and both sides are wrong. Both sides are stupid, and ordinary people are in the middle. So I just wanted to make this video, give you the facts and what's exactly happening, because the mainstream media aren't talking about this. It doesn't really matter, because we are here, we are the media. Don't forget to subscribe, support the channel by becoming a member. You get a lot of perks and benefits. As of tonight, I'm bringing back the daily vlogs for the members, extra content every day. Subscribe, I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.